Good morning. Good morning. Look, there they are. They're the curly cooks in the background.
See you at 10.
We should put the lights on over there, which is fantastic. They're taking selfies. I mean, look at them having fun in the kitchen. Look at them chatting away. It'd be so funny if we just in the background see you both wrestle each other to the floor and start smashing each other in the face. Oh, bloody hell. She's quite handy with a fist.
I'm just going to take Dean's bloody anorak out of the back of the shop. Doesn't look great.
Well, now we can see a bin liner. Morning, everyone. How are we all? Hope you're all well. Hope you recovered from the Friday hashtag. What is it? I forgot what I said. Hashtag Friday fun. How are we all? Julie's crafting. Oh, where have you gone? Julie's crafting world. Is it? Cloda Egan, how are you? Julie's crafting and body shoppers. Vicky Equi, Tina Davis, Bev Hartnell, Steph Quinlan, Geraldine Keown, watching the Mardi Gras in Sydney, but I've come over to listen to you, Mark. Send our love to Sydney. I love Sidders. Good morning, Tim Reed. Tim. Morning, Margaret O'Brien, Jules. Yeah, you've got a lot of fun coming up this morning. Courtesy of us reprobates. But I thought I'd take you through the news. And as Nadia was saying, when I say there's not a lot of great journalism, there's not a lot of variety across papers. They all lead with the same story. They all lead with the same theme. They all just use slightly different headlines, which is about as varied as journalism gets. So what have you been up to this morning? Gribble, grobble, grr. I'm in bed with a migraine, hoping for light relief. Well, I think you're definitely going to get some of that. Nix, morning. How the devil are you this fabulous morning? Good, how are you? Morning, Mark. Jean the Bean, Jean Quirk. Hello from Madrid, LJD. Sarah Cat, you're going on a blind date this morning.
Oh my God.
This morning. Wow, help. Well, I doubt alcohol will be involved.
Who's that?
Sarah Cat is going on a blind date this morning.
Do you know what? You are so, and I don't want this to make you feel bad, but you're so brave. And that means you're already an incredible person, because I would be too nervous to just be myself without a drink and all of that. So bloody good for you. Just go in there just thinking, I just might meet somebody that I quite like.
It's really odd though, Sarah.
And then if I don't, it's fine. Don't put too much expectations on it.
There's something really odd about this, because I'm going on a blind date too. I wonder if it's her. Sarah, what time is your blind date? 10? Anyway, go for it, girls, says Tanya Bartlett. Enjoy your date. You all right?
Well, it just looks awful behind you.
Fucking hell.
Jacket all
this doesn't happen on the Sky News papers.
Yeah,
someone comes in the back of shot and starts.
Now, loved in the background.
All right, fair enough. All right. So, what is on the front of the newspapers? We have to lead with this. Tories in a stew over turnips. Theresa Coffey's advice to eat turnips in place of unavailable fresh produce led to what? What did it lead to? A run on turnips. We've now run out of turnips. So you can add to the salad, you can add to the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the lettuce. You can now add turnips. Of course, the Mirror isn't the only one to run with that. Not such a cunning plan, m'lady. Do you know what? I'm going to say something contentious now. I heard Theresa Coffey. Is that her name? Theresa Coffey? Yeah. When she was, I can't remember what her post was. They were all changing kind of ministries, weren't they? Like every 6 seconds. I didn't mind her. It's curious though. She was health minister, wasn't she? She smoked big fat cigars and said eat anything basically. Not such a cunning plan. Turnip stockpilers spark panic after government advice. I think the fun with headlines is the way in which all the connective words are removed. Supermarkets sell out of Baldrick's favourite veg. Obviously Baldrick from Blackadder. Theresa Coffey's cunning plan for us to eat turnips instead of tomatoes is in tatters after stockpilers strip them from supermarket shelves. Have any of you eaten too many turnips? Who's ordered turnips or parsnips? So, of course, who remembers the Daily Star's Will Liz Truss last longer than a lettuce? We now have Theresa Coffey as a turnip.
There aren't any turnips.
Well, because they fucking...
Turnips come out in April.
Oh, so why did...
Stop telling us to eat turnips.
Well, there are no turnips. What's out? Okay, let's get this straight from the horse's mouth. What is out now?
Leeks.
Leeks have sold out. Leeks have sold out. Has anyone tried to get a leek?
It's all time to grow your own.
We can't get a leek to grow in a week, however fast we do it. I like this story. Well, we all like this story in this house. Someone putting their money where their mouth is. Rod Stewart, who, do you remember, contacted Sky News and said he'd help reduce the MRI scanning waiting lists? Well, he's done it. He went to the Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, near his Essex home, and he paid for a day of scans, which just a day of scans helped reduce the waiting list by 10% or 20 patients. I'm a knight after all. Sir Rod rolls up to pay for NHS scans. I mean, whatever you think of Rod Stewart, and I can't say I'm an enormous fan or anything. I don't dislike the man, but you know, I like that. I like that. He said it. He did it. So there you go, Rod Stewart actually delivering on that promise. So, and I think he was kind of struck by how remarkably cheap it was.
That's going to be relative.
Yes, relative to all of us. Now, this story is a curious one. I don't know if anyone saw the Baftas. Obviously, there were all sorts of, controversies is a strong word to say. Is The Banshees of Inisherin a British film? Lots of people debating that. It was partially funded by Channel 4, so you could argue that it was. But obviously, the much bigger valid controversy was the absolute absence of anyone of colour winning anything in any category. That was a bit of a shambolic moment, really. But a bigger thing that has led to sort of various sort of other actors and people resigning from Bafta as members was their forgetting to mention Bernard Cribbins in their in memoriam. Lots of people very upset about this, and I think understandably so. Bernard Cribbins wasn't included in, when they do that sort of the long list of people who've sadly passed away for that year. A lot of people very upset with Bernard Cribbins because, of course, he was very famously in things like The Railway Children. Now, to be in Bafta's defence, they say he is going to be included in an in memoriam for TV stars. I just wonder whether actually maybe that's just a fair point. Maybe he was much more telly than he was film. What do you think? But anyway, he deserves to be remembered. He was an amazing actor, wasn't he? Absolutely. Anne Murray, earthquake in Wales. Really, how big an earthquake was that? As we're approaching St. David's Day as well. That was very sad to forget Bernard Cribbins, says Faith Goodman. Absolutely. Yeah, a lovely man, a lovely. I think Bernard Cribbins' gardener used to be with us. I don't know if you still are. Karen Davis and the Wombles, absolutely. Morning, Ashley. Very sad. This story I pulled only because I've always wondered about this. Test Vet's Honour at Last. Who remembers all those films in the 70s and 60s and 50s of, nuclear bombs being, test explosions, nuclear tests happening on, islands. What was the name? Was it Bikini Island and places like that? And thousands of soldiers who were sort of purposefully left unaware of the consequences of the radiation and all that kind of stuff. They have finally been honoured. So they're described as the forgotten heroes of Britain's nuclear tests will receive long-awaited medals this summer. It means that veterans will be recognised for their service 71 years after they helped develop the UK's first atomic bomb. Obviously, a lot of the families of these veterans feel that it's come too late. A lot of them died of radioactive diseases and things like that. But I think this is, when you see those films, and they're always used in montages, aren't they? There's a new film, Oppenheimer, coming out by Christopher Nolan. And you see those shots of all the soldiers with the glasses on and the mushroom cloud, and it goes, and you sort of think, well, if nuclear bombs do as much damage as they do, why were they all standing there? Why did the authorities allow them to stand there just looking at it and not think there would be some consequence? So I think it's really good that they are all going to be honoured and recognised in their contribution. Tanya Bartlett, anyone there should have had compensation years ago and been recognised. I totally agree. These are the kind of more serious stories. The other serious story is bird flu warning after girl aged 11 dies in the Far East. Now, this isn't about getting hysterical, but this is about a sort of healthy reminder that we can't get complacent in the West. Bird flu is raging around the world much more than it ever has done. There has been transfer from birds to things like otters and other sort of mammals. And this is the first sort of person-to-person exchange within a family. Now, of course, we don't, as with all these things, we don't know what the extent to which the underlying health concerns of this girl were, but it's just a cautionary, it's a cautionary reminder, isn't it? That I think we have to all be prepared for some kind of potential further crossover of viruses and what have you. Me too. We're living off turnips. How much more complacent can we get? Classic Daily Mail already scaremongering about the story and talks of lockdown. I mean, yeah, we are nowhere near that. And I mean, obviously tragic for the 11-year-old girl in Cambodia, of course, and their family. But that does not translate necessarily into what we were seeing in China at the beginning of COVID. Excuse me. So yeah, you're going to see this story. I think it's a very distant beating drum. The press are very much going to want to run with this. But once again, I do think there is some aspect of us making sure. I mean, huge numbers of scientists always say it's not going to be things like, nuclear Armageddon, though we're quite close to that, aren't we? That's going to take us all out. It's going to be disease, and it's going to be viruses. It's going to be all that sort of stuff. So we need to be careful. Roald Dahl. We did Roald Dahl this week, didn't we? Puffin, the publishers of Roald Dahl. I wonder if Camilla was partially responsible for this. What do you think? Did you hear about that, girls?
What?
Camilla yesterday said, don't writers, don't mince your words, don't censor yourself. And at the end of it, she dropped her microphone and said, "Enough said."
Yes, yeah, no, I heard there was
like a hip hop artist. She just dropped a mic and went, "Enough said."
No, really?
No, well, she didn't drop a mic, but she did end it. She ended it all by saying, "Enough said." She suddenly got street. She suddenly went Streatham.
She's gone rogue.
Anyway, Puffin have agreed. This is a reversal. Puffin have agreed that they will keep publishing the books with the, let's call it, distressing language as classics, but they will change the content of the books for the super young. I think that's a good halfway house. What do you think, guys? But obviously, look, we've got the Daily Mail, as I was saying yesterday, has honed in on the Enid Blyton books. Someone at a desk has thought, let's analyse the Enid Blyton books.
We loved Enid Blyton when we were kids.
Okay, well, Enid Blyton's books have been stripped of these words: queer, gay, brown, in reference to tanned faces. Replace things with peculiar, odd, strange, funny, and weird. Back in one of the books, Anne wonders why Georgina had not greeted her and her brothers, and she said, "Isn't she queer?" Not wanting to welcome us. I don't see a problem with the word queer if it's used in the sense of the word queer. If I'm honest, I don't think anyone should have a problem with the word queer. I think that's maybe a hypersensitivity. Erin Bullimore, wait until they get to the Narnia books. Christ, I can't remember what they say in that. It was the Turkish Delight and all that stuff. Leave those books alone, says Samantha Stone in a sort of Pink Floyd way. Jennifer Winter, I was in an Oxfam bookshop yesterday and an older lady came in buying lots of Roald Dahl books because she wanted them before they were censored. As I say, Puffin are going to continue publishing the books as he originally wrote them, and they're going to be repackaged and published as classics. You can say something's Nauta's queer as folk. Gay meant happy. I mean, I think gay, the double meaning of gay, obviously when it's not used pejoratively and as a form of assault, when kids do go, "Oh, you're so gay," and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's about context and it's about intention. And I don't think I'm not a fan of Enid Blyton one bit. The idea of running around with picnics and lashings of ginger beer fills me with absolute horror. Here we go. Joan Collins is in the press. She got out of her cab going to a nice posh meal with Christopher Biggins and nearly got hit by a cyclist. And whilst I haven't got a lot of time for Dame Joan Collins, I feel for her. I feel for her here because she got out of a cab and was nearly knocked over by a dangerous cyclist. So she decided to write to on Instagram or call out Sadiq Khan. Yeah. There is an issue. Here. Cyclists are, for some, not all cyclists, but a huge number of cyclists feel that none of the rules of the road apply to them. And what happens is they get hit because of their bad behavior. And it's easy to blame someone in a car, or it's easy to blame a pedestrian for not looking. What I've noticed with cyclists, some because the huge, vast majority are great observers of the rules of the road. But when they're in the wrong, they're never in the wrong. You know, it's that narcissistic thing that we talk about, where if I do something wrong, it's my fault. But if you do something wrong, what's it?
If you do something wrong, it's also
Oh,
my fault.
if you do something wrong, no. If
Yeah.
you do something wrong, it's your fault. And if I do something wrong, it's because of you, right? That's what cyclists in London are like. It's never their responsibility. Tanya Bartlett, they never stop at red lights. Never.
Not all of them, though.
No, not all of them, but I would say the red light thing is probably 70% of them.
It's massive in London. I think they should have a number plate.
Number plates and licenses for bicycles. So poor, Joan Collins isn't old, isn't young, is she? She's 89. It would take one bicycle hit for Joni, wouldn't it? Mind you, she still had a nice lunch. There's nice photos of her afterwards. She looked quite happy. Christopher Biggins is such a smiler, isn't he? I've never known a man smile so much. He's so happy.
He's always like that.
I want what
He's lovely.
is he? I want whatever Christopher Biggins is having. And he used to be in Porridge, didn't he? He's a good actor. Yeah. Oh, he's a good comic actor.
He was brilliant in Pole Dart. That's right.
Oh, was he in Pole Dart? Oh, right. Creepy priest. Oh, God. This is a curious one. Yabba dabba don't. Today's TV catchphrases turn air blue. This is a sort of this is a research study done in Ohio, Cleveland. No, it's not. Apparently, a study shows that there aren't as many sort of fun, lovely, sort of quotable sort of sayings or catchphrases from programs. It's all now just things like "fuck off" or "don't fuck it up." RuPaul's Drag Race, "don't fuck it up." That's the catchphrase. And so they've been bemoaning the fact this study. I don't know what they did. Did they just sit there watching telly and just sort of saying, "Oh, where's phrases like?" Do you remember Captain Caveman? I used to love Captain. Nat, you're a bit like Captain Caveman.
Yeah.
When she goes, she's like a cross between the Tasmanian Devil and Captain Caveman. What's your favourite catchphrase, if you can think of one? MeTube, going back to the cyclist story, says number plates for use on public roads. Agree. Pink Lady, a lot of the reasons cyclists go through red lights is to get ahead of the traffic and stop cars running up their arse, says Pink Lady. But surely traffic lights are there to be observed, no? In London, they have great big wide cycle lanes. And what I don't understand is why they don't use the cycle lanes and they come onto the road. Don't get a driver in London going, because believe me, I realise it's not all of you. And you all get a bad name because of a terrible few. Any other catchphrases? Love Captain Caveman. It was so good, wasn't it? Teresa A. I got knocked over by a cyclist a few years ago in London. I pulled my daughter behind me just in time and the cyclist rode off. I was black and blue for weeks. Yabba dabba do. Clodagh Egan. Very good. Steph Schultz. You won't get anything for a pair. Not in this game. Was that right? Not in this game. You won't get anything for a pair.
Meet, Roadrunner.
Meet, Roadrunner. Yeah, that was good. Look at this. Who sends pig? Not pig. Who sends Moonpig cards? Moonpig cards. Do you like Moonpig cards? Do you? Yeah, Moonpig cards. In fact, I think we've received a few. I think Ashley, you've sent a couple. Thank you. Card maker Moonpig has decided to drop all cards that have cute pugs and French bulldogs on because it promotes the breeding of dogs, which they describe as breathing impaired dogs. So it's a little bit like Section 28, where if you talk about homosexuality, you're somehow promoting it. What do you think of this? By publishing cards of pugs and French bulldogs, you're encouraging the breeding of breathing impaired dogs. I don't know if Moonpig are responsible. But anyway, the online card company has promised to PETA, the animal rights lobby group, that it will stop selling cards after a study found that some flat-faced dog breeds could no longer be classified as normal dogs. They may be cute, but they're cute for all the wrong reasons. That's another one of those things that you begin to wonder, have things gone too far? But then at the same time, I always do feel sorry for a pug. They're so full of personality, and that personality sometimes can't get past their nostrils. It's sad. Great news, says Jane Grimsey. You see, I suppose cards and what have you, and the what's it called when you humanize a pet? I suppose it does encourage people to just think, oh, they're a great sort of fashion accompaniment. Minky Moo, that is a great catchphrase. I could crush a grape. Oh, Tommy, I could crush a grape. Change is difficult, but ultimately things like this are for the best, says Emily. Let's be careful out there. Hill Street Blues, great saying. Jennifer Winter, but they're bred specifically to look like that, which isn't humane and causes problems. It's wrong. Well, there you go. See, something I would pass over in the paper. This is interesting, isn't it? You sort of pass over and you think, initially I just thought, oh, really? Amy May, I think that's fair, to be honest. It increases the fashion of cute dogs. It's just cruel when they can't breathe. They always grunt when they walk because they can't breathe. And also, apparently, they're always weeing a little bit, aren't they? Jack, me too, it's nudge change. Yeah, nudge change. That's a nice phrase. Love that one when I was a kid. Yeah, I think it's crush a grape, isn't it? Upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing, Nads. They haven't heard your catchphrase in a while, they're saying.
Up there for thinking,
Down there for dancing. Wasn't very good, was it?
Sorry, I'm trying to...
We've kind of not missed it like that, have we? This story got me really cross when the police have got enough to be dealing with. And I know of someone else who knows of someone else who saw someone masturbating in a window and the police would do nothing about it. Listen to this. The police would do nothing. They said they couldn't do anything about it, apparently. But look here, police called out due to toddler naked in window after bath. A family were left feeling like criminals after the police turned up because their 3-year-old had a bath, ran into their sort of lounge and pushed his bum against a window. Alex Stockton opened the door to 2 police officers saying, very seriously, can we come in for a quick word? We've had a report of a naked child in the window. And so they were interrogated. They were sort of, okay, you may argue. I think there's a strong argument to think, be careful because there may be horrible people walking past, but it's going to be a moment. It's momentary. It's not constant. But what gets me about this is knowing that the police will refuse to do something about someone flashing from a window. It's not the same police force, but they're more than happy to go in and give a caution to parents over a child innocently jumping out of the bath and popping his bum against the window. To be honest with you, I've popped my bum against countless windows. I mean, as a child, obviously, as a child. Come on. Come on. It's just, as the father said, when he left, I felt a bit like a criminal. Then I realised we'd done nothing wrong and it was everyone else who'd gone mad. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Okay, when is St. David's Day? Is it St. David's Day?
1st of March, is that Wednesday?
1st of March. Fucking hell, are we in March already? Jesus Christ. Look at that. How do you restore a much-loved cheese to its hometown? Carefully. Oh, God. Funny. There we go. Welsh favourite returns for 30 years after production was stopped in Wales due to European restrictions. Hugh Rowlands and Dean Thomas are reviving the tradition after spending 3 years perfecting. What defines a carefully cheese, Dina?
What defines cheese?
What is a carefully cheese? Is it a sort of
cheese?
Crumbly.
Yeah, it's quite. I would say tart and sour almost.
Tart and sour. Any Welsh people here want to take umbrage with that? Yeah, tart and sour. Sounds like a description of someone I know. Carefully. The pair said that understanding the science behind making the cheese had been really challenging. More technical than... There's a lot of technique in making cheese. A lot of technique. So yeah, carefully is coming back. Oh, but look at this. As we were just discussing, leeks may be the next vegetable to be rationed. Oh. It's all kicking off in Wales, isn't it? Supplies of leeks could run out within weeks. Leek growers have suffered a drop in yields of as much as 30%. It's global warming, isn't it? The drought and high temperatures in the summer have stunted growth. Is a small leek a spring onion? No. Okay, good to know. That was a clear answer. And this is another one. Shoppers are forking out twice as much for pasta. The cost of pasta has doubled from 50p for 500 grams to 95p on average amongst various supermarkets.
Lidl's for 29p.
Whereas Lidl, not surprisingly, has gone down by half.
Tina will always beat you with a Lidl.
Hang on, it makes you wonder, how do Lidl do it? And if they do it, why aren't the others doing it?
We watched the whole programme and we can tell you exactly how they do it now.
We did get a postcard from Bernard Cribbins. It was lovely. It made my day. Bless him. Sent by his lovely gardener. I hope you're out there still. Oh, are you counting? Cloda's counting down to Vlogmas, guys.
Vlogmas?
Yeah, we're only 9 months away.
Wicked.
Jesus Christ.
Let's start planning.
Who was a fan of Grange Hill?
Yeah. I was a bit old.
Old?
Yeah. When
Were
it
you?
came out, yeah.
You were.
How old were you?
To watch it. I was in here a couple of times.
Boom, 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 boom. I love that. My favourite bit of the whole thing was when the forked sausage flew through the sky. Do you remember that? They used to have a
The animation.
They used to have a cartoon title sequence, and then there'd be a moment where a sausage with a fork in it would fly across. It was sort of Beano. Isn't it funny, guys? Have you noticed how food in comics and cartoons looks so divine? Me and Maddie always talk about the sandwiches in Scooby-Doo. The BBC are launching a new series called Phoenix Rise, starring this wonderful batch of actors. And Phoenix Rise is hoping to be today's Grange Hill. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be. It's going to be too cautious. It's going to be too slick. It's going to be competing for the Netflix viewer. Apparently, it charts 6 pupils excluded from school who start back into mainstream. Well, that's quite a nice angle. Excluded kids. Its writers hope to portray young lives with the same accuracy that Grange Hill did over the course of 31 years. And it's set in Coventry. Pogo Patterson, do you remember him? Zammo. I got my keys cut by Zammo in Soho. He became a key cutter. Biker Grove was Anton Deck. God, do you remember Biker Grove? So yeah, a new Grange Hill. I think we should react to that. I think there's a gap in the market for it, but don't Netflix deliver all that? I suppose it's very American, isn't Netflix? Anyone live in Leicester? I know Dorney does. Dorney, you live in the most celibate city in the UK. Humperdinking not in Leicester. Sex famine in East Midlands. There are more celibate people in Leicester than any other city in the UK. Anyone here in Leicester who would agree with that? You got Humperdinck saying to Gary Lineker at the bottom there, do you score often? Not as much as I used to. 28% of people in Leicester told a poll that they abstain from sex. That equates to almost 100,000 people in a city of 357. Wow. Not a lot of nookie in Leicester. How do they know that, says Tony Bartlett? It's another research sort of think tank from Cleveland, Ohio. DT, exactly. There you go. Anyone heading off to the Costa del Sol or Benidorm, look out for this chap, Derek. Retired shoe seller Derek is the life and soul of Benidorm after becoming a social media sensation at 88. He went back to Benidorm because his dear wife had died to revisit the memories of his times when he used to travel there with his partner. But because he doesn't have a smartphone, so he's unaware of his sort of social media fame. But I think thanks to his family promoting him and pushing him and asking people to look after him, he's become a sort of social media sensation. So he says it's slightly annoying though, because every time he goes out, he keeps being asked for selfies. But there he is. I'm not entirely certain he looks like a Robert De Niro lookalike, does he? Good for Derek. I think that's lovely. He's probably getting free drinks from everyone. I've been all around the world, he says, but Benidorm is the best. My favourite song to sing is Little Old Wine Drinker Me, he said as he sipped a £1.50 pint of San Miguel. You know what? I wouldn't mind doing that. Just wandering around Benidorm, getting selfies taken and having drinks bought for me in my old age. That'd be quite nice. The ladies start screaming my name and ask me if I want a drink. They even said I look like Robert De Niro. I'll be taking them up on the offer, he says. My job has been to make sure he doesn't get mobbed too much, says someone who works in one of the bars that he goes to. But Derek said he's not letting the fame go to his head. I'd never say no to a selfie. I'm having the time of my life. Go, Derek. Last couple of stories and ads, and then we're going to... Then it's the carnage of the curly... What the fuck is going to happen this time, eh? What the hell? It's carnage. And I have to confess, Dina starts tidy and ends in total bedlam. Look at this. Look at this. Springy Spaniel survives 150-foot cliff fall. Eddie the Mutt's miracle. I'm okay. I just feel a bit rough. Eddie the pet spaniel went over the edge of a cliff. A friend of ours told us the tragic story of their dog going over a cliff and dying. I'm not sure that's true, said Tawny Harvey. There's a lot of babies for a celibate city. But maybe those who are having babies are just doing it a lot more than those who aren't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, this is the story of a dog that tumbled off a cliff and it just cut its leg a little bit. She saw him walk to the edge and was horrified when he disappeared. But when they got down to him, he was all right. He just had a little cut that needed to be looked after. Look at him. Look at him. What a cutie. I think I've got a close-up here, have I? Oh, I'm okay, but I just feel a bit rough. That's what that's what Toffee's mum looked like. Bless. Aren't those dogs bred with their eyes to sort of hang down? Last couple of stories. Has anyone else ever had a dog? I always get absolutely petrified when dogs run to the edge of cliffs and stuff like that. He's so cute, isn't he? Gen Z. Gen Z say the outside world is so dull. 1 in 5 adults finds the real world a huge bore. 22% of men claim it applied to them as well, and 20% of women. People have said that since the pandemic, the allure of the world has gone. And I think I might have said the film is doing so well at the box office and in cinemas. People are coming out with what they call Pandora depression. And I think that's because they see a world. And this is an interesting thing. On memes, lots of young people are going onto social media and they're finding footage of our world, like the coral reef and all that kind of stuff, places in China, and they're saying this is our world too. The beauty of Pandora in this fictional world is our world too, but we're destroying it. I kind of understand. The world's lost its allure. I think that's why fantasy series and all that kind of stuff are so popular, because youngsters just want to escape. Faith Goodman, Gen Z are going to have huge problems in the future. You're damn right, because they're going to expect to see lots and lots of blue people flying around, and they ain't out there. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're not. And final story, this could apply to 1 in 5 adults finds real world a huge bore. This is a final one, which could be applicable to curly cooks. You never know. Why nasty smells at home might be a sign you're stressed. So, Nadia, when you're sensitive to unpleasant odors, it's because you're stressed. Apparently, when we're stressed, our olfactory ability to smell horrible smells increases.
Wow, I suppose you're just more attuned to being more nervous.
The house may not need a clean. You just might be in a bad mood. So a study has found our sense of smell for unpleasant odors is heightened when we're tense, stressed, and on edge.
My mum always used to say that when she took her glasses off, she could hear so much better.
Yes.
She said it was just she thinks that sense just kicked in because she wasn't seeing so well.
Which leads to the song Red and Yellow and Pink and Green, Orange and Toffee and Goo. I can smell a rainbow, and it smells of poo. And on that rather musical note, in 10 minutes, 12 minutes time, as I say, it's going to be absolute bedlam over there. You can hear them sweeping. And we need to sweep again later. So remember, if the smells go off, it's because the girls are stressed. So there you go. So guys, I hope I've brought you some vaguely sort of silly. Obviously there's a lot of coverage of Ukraine, but I think that has been well covered yesterday. So guys.